God says what happened 3 hours ago has already changed the course of your destiny, and you were not meant to scroll past this moment because heaven paused your timeline to deliver a truth so powerful that your spirit will feel it before your mind understands it. And my child, listen closely, because the storm you've been feeling inside your heart did not come from your imagination, the heaviness, the confusion, the sudden emotional distance from your soulmate were not random, they were the result of a jealous woman who had been quietly working against the connection I divinely placed in your life, a woman who saw your light and envied it, who saw your soulmate's heart and desired to control it, who saw the destiny between you and attempted to break it, and though she acted innocent on the surface, her intentions were rooted in envy, fear, and possession, and for far too long she whispered words coated in poison, twisting your image, bending the truth, planting seeds of doubt inside your soulmate's mind until they could no longer hear the voice of their own heart. But my beloved child, what she did not know was that I was watching everything, every conversation, every lie, every manipulative tactic, every moment she hid her jealousy behind fake kindness, every thought she sent toward the bond that was never hers to touch. And I gave her warnings, gentle ones at first, whispers in her spirit telling her to stop, to pull back, to release what did not belong to her. But she refused, she hardened her heart, she believed she could overpower divine timing, she believed she could rewrite a destiny I authored, but 3 hours ago her intentions collided with my justice, and the energy she sent toward your connection snapped back onto her with full force. My beloved child, something shifted 3 hours ago, and the shift was so strong that the angels who guard your destiny moved instantly, creating a reversal that broke all influence she held over your soulmate. And in the same moment the spiritual fog that had been clouding your soulmate's mind began to dissolve like mist under sunlight, and what they could not see before is now becoming painfully clear, because your soulmate is awakening, their intuition is reopening, their heart is softening, and memories of you, real memories, pure memories, sacred moments, are flooding back into their consciousness with intensity. And now they are beginning to feel the truth they ignored, the love they suppressed, the bond they tried to downplay, the connection they believed they could walk away from. But destiny doesn't bend to fear, and now that the manipulation is broken, your soulmate is starting to feel the guilt of having doubted you, the regret of having listened to the wrong voice, the ache of having pushed away someone who carried pure intentions for them when everyone else had motives. And my child, listen closely, because this part is important. Their guilt is not coming to destroy them, it is coming to awaken them, to humble them, to bring them back into the alignment they drifted from. And as heaven works inside their spirit, you will begin to feel shifts as well, subtle at first, then undeniable, waves of peace, sudden emotional clarity, moments where your intuition whispers, something changed, and you are correct, because I have removed every spiritual block that once stood between you. And the jealous woman who interfered is now facing the collapse of the illusions she built. Her influence is losing strength, her tactics are failing, her presence is being exposed, because divine justice is not delayed, it is timed, and the time has come. And my beloved child, you must understand the magnitude of this moment. Your soulmate is not just remembering you, they are realizing the depth of what they almost lost. They are recognizing that you were never the problem, you were the blessing. You were the stability, the peace, the comfort, the genuine love their heart needed. And now that their spirit is awakening, the emotional pull toward you is increasing, growing stronger with every passing hour. The confusion that once held them captive is breaking, and they are beginning to feel the truth that was always there beneath the noise. and soon this awakening will become unbearable in the best way. They will feel compelled to seek you, compelled to reach out, compelled to make things right, compelled to explain, compelled to confess what they truly felt, compelled to correct what was broken, because I am pushing them toward vulnerability, honesty, and restoration. And listen closely, my beloved child, this restoration will not look like the past. It will be higher, cleaner, stronger, protected, because I am not returning you to a wounded connection. I am lifting you into a healed one, and while your soulmate awakens, I am also awakening you, healing the pain you carried, clearing the doubts you held, strengthening your worth, reminding you that nothing was lost. You were preserved, shielded, guarded from manipulation that could have damaged your spirit, and now that the interference is gone, your heart will feel lighter, more peaceful, more open, because I am preparing you for what is coming next, and what is coming is not heartbreak, it is restoration, a restoration that has been sealed by heaven, and in this new chapter, no jealousy will interfere, no lies will prevail, no manipulation will take root, because I am placing divine protection over your connection, a shield that cannot be broken. And hear me clearly, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, not the ones from the past, not the ones spoken behind your back, not the ones rooted in envy, not the ones driven by fear. And as I continue to unfold this destiny, your soulmate will become more emotionally awake each day, as clarity hits them like lightning, as truth rises like dawn, as love pulls them back toward the path they should have never left. And at the same time I am reshaping your heart so you do not shrink yourself again, so you do not doubt your worth, so you do not fear reunion but welcome it with divine confidence, because I am giving you a new beginning, a beginning where love is not stolen, not interrupted, not confused, not manipulated, but protected, purified, and aligned. And as this prophecy moves into its final stage, understand that what felt like delay was divine preparation, what felt like abandonment was spiritual protection, what felt like heartbreak was actually the clearing of interference so both of you could rise into the versions of yourselves needed for a successful union. And now the clock has started, the shift has happened, the awakening has begun, the justice has been delivered, the interference has been destroyed, and the connection is being restored. And my beloved child, listen closely one last time. I am not just returning your soulmate. I am returning them awakened, humbled, aligned, and ready, and I am returning you stronger, wiser, healed, and divinely guided, and together you will step into a chapter guarded by heaven itself, free from interference, free from confusion, and overflowing with the love that was written for you before time began. God says, my child, listen closely because what I am about to unveil next is the deepest layer of the shift that occurred 3 hours ago, a shift so powerful that even the angels paused to witness how heaven realigned what jealousy tried to break, and now the spiritual realm is moving faster than your eyes can see, adjusting timelines, softening hearts, exposing intentions, and awakening destinies. For your soulmate is stepping into a phase of emotional revelation unlike anything they have experienced before, and you must understand the weight of this moment because their heart is now remembering everything, every detail, every sensation, every moment your presence brought them peace, and as these memories rise one after another, the fog that once blinded their judgment is being replaced with divine clarity, and the truth is hitting them with waves of intensity. You were the one who carried genuine love. You were the one whose intentions were pure. You were the one who never tried to manipulate. You were the one who honored their soul even when their mind doubted you. And now they are realizing that the jealous woman who worked against this connection did not simply interfere. she acted out of fear, desperation, and insecurity because she saw a divine connection unfolding before her eyes and it terrified her, and while your soulmate was emotionally vulnerable, she inserted herself as the voice of guidance, pretending to protect them while secretly poisoning their intuition. But my beloved child, the moment her darkness attempted to override my divine plan, I stepped in, and the reversal that occurred 3 hours ago was not accidental, it was surgical, precise, divinely orchestrated, tearing down every layer of illusion she built, dismantling the false emotional attachments she tried to create, and breaking every spiritual string she attempted to tie around your soulmate's heart. And now that the influence is shattered, their soul is experiencing a rapid recalibration, a flood of emotion, insight, and conviction that is impossible for them to ignore, and soon you will feel this awakening inside your own spirit too, sudden moments where your heart warms without reason, moments where tears come unexpectedly, moments where your intuition whispers, "They are thinking of you right now." And all of it is true, because your soulmate's energy is beginning to reach out to you, drawn to the light that once healed them, drawn to the peace only you ever gave, drawn to the authenticity that stood firm even when they doubted it, and this pull is only growing stronger by the hour because I am restoring the original alignment of your connection, the alignment that was written without interference, without manipulation, without confusion, and as their awareness expands, they are beginning to see the jealous woman for who she truly was, noticing the subtle tactics she used, recognizing the moments she overstepped boundaries, remembering the tone she carried when your name was mentioned, realizing how she inserted herself at times when she had no place to, and each revelation hits them like a spiritual jolt, leaving them with a mix of regret, shame, and awakening, not to punish them but to cleanse their perception, to clear the emotional fog they lived under, to humble their spirit so they can approach you with sincerity instead of pride, truth instead of confusion, intention instead of fear. And my child, listen closely, because this cleansing is necessary. Without it, they could not truly return to you with the heart you deserve, and while their emotions awaken, so does their longing, longing to hear your voice, longing to feel your energy, longing to be in your presence, longing to fix what was broken, longing to confess what they buried inside themselves, and this longing is not temporary. It is the outcome of divine justice. Because what belongs to you cannot be permanently redirected by jealousy, and what I have written cannot be erased by human insecurity, and now that truth is rising, their desire for you will only intensify, growing deeper with each passing day, and while this happens I am strengthening you, aligning your emotional frequency, grounding your spirit, removing the remnants of pain you carried, so when the reunion begins to unfold, you do not shrink yourself, you do not fear abandonment. You do not second-guess your intuition, because the new chapter 1 I'm opening for you requires strength, clarity, and self-worth, and I am giving you all three, and as the jealous woman faces the consequences of her choices, doors closing, relationships shifting, intentions exposed, your soulmate is facing the consequences of awakening, realizing how much they misunderstood, how easily they were influenced, how deeply they actually cared for you, and how painful it is to acknowledge the truth after the damage is done. But this pain is becoming the very force that pushes them toward redemption, honesty, and reconnection, and soon they will feel the urgency to reach out, not out of fear of losing you, but out of the overflowing conviction that their soul has chosen you long before their mind accepted it. And my beloved child, hear me clearly, the connection is being restored piece by piece, moment by moment, revelation by revelation, and in this process, no lie will survive, no fear will dominate, No interference will return, because I am guarding this new chapter with a divine shield. And as I move both hearts closer to alignment, opportunities will open, signs will intensify, synchronicities will multiply, numbers, dreams, flashes of intuition, random reminders of each other, because heaven is guiding the path, preparing the reunion in perfect timing, not too soon that wounds reopen, not too late that the connection fades, but at the precise moment when both hearts are ready, awakened, humbled, and aligned. And you must trust this timing, trust the process, trust the unfolding, because nothing is delaying anymore. The blockage is gone, the interference is broken, the energy is flowing, and destiny is moving again. And as this revelation lands in your spirit, remember this truth that will guide you through the days ahead. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, no jealousy can break what I have protected, no manipulation can touch what I have blessed, and no darkness can survive where my light has been released, and now my light surrounds your connection, ensuring that the next chapter will be built on truth, on healed hearts, and on divine alignment. And my child, listen once more, this is only the beginning, because the reunion that is forming will be deeper, richer, more authentic, and more spiritually aligned than anything you experienced before. And I am preparing the moment where everything finally makes sense, where every tear finds meaning, where every delay reveals its purpose, and where love returns not as a question but as certainty. Because what I have joined in the spirit will now rise into the physical world, unstoppable, undeniable, and forever protected. God says, my child, listen closely, because the next part of this revelation must enter your spirit with the same intensity with which heaven is releasing it, for what began 3 hours ago has now unfolded into a full spiritual reset around your destiny, and you need to understand the magnitude of what is happening behind the scenes, because while you have been seeking clarity, your soulmate has been experiencing an emotional and spiritual awakening that is shaking their inner world, an awakening that is forcing them to confront truths they buried, feelings they denied, mistakes they made, and illusions they accepted. And this awakening is not gentle, it is fierce, urgent, and divinely orchestrated, because the time for confusion has ended, the season of interference has closed, and I am now accelerating the timeline of truth. And as this acceleration intensifies, your soulmate is feeling the weight of every suppressed emotion rising like a wave inside them, memories of you pulling at their heart, flashes of your presence hitting them in quiet moments, your voice echoing in their mind when they least expect it. And these moments are not random, they are divine reminders, spiritual triggers designed to open their heart, remove denial, and awaken the connection that jealousy tried to silence. And now that the manipulation has lost its grip, your soulmate is seeing clearly the role the jealous woman played, not through anger first, but through revelation, noticing the subtle manipulations she used to keep them close, the emotional traps she laid out when she sensed them drifting toward their destiny, the false protection she pretended to offer, and the way her energy shifted whenever your name came near. And each realization is unraveling the blind trust they once gave her, each memory revealing how she positioned herself as a guide while secretly guarding her own insecurity. And as this clarity deepens, your soulmate is beginning to feel the truth of the spiritual fog they lived under, and this recognition is painful for them, but it is necessary, because pain becomes the catalyst for awakening. Awakening becomes the doorway to truth, and truth becomes the bridge back to destiny. And now they are walking that bridge step by step, guided by conviction, guided by divine pressure, guided by a longing for you that they can no longer deny. For every time they try to distract themselves, your energy rises again. Every time they try to ignore the pull, Their heart tightens. Every time they try to silence their intuition, it grows louder, because heaven has made it impossible for them to move forward without acknowledging the bond that was written long before interference entered the story. And my child, listen closely because this part matters deeply. Your soulmate is entering a phase of internal confession, where their heart begins to confess truths their mouth has not yet spoken. Truths like, I was wrong, I missed them, I shouldn't have doubted, why did I listen to her? They were the one who truly cared, and these internal confessions are preparing them for the moment they will speak these truths to you directly, because the reunion I am orchestrating requires humility, honesty, and emotional readiness, and that readiness is being formed inside them right now. And as they sit with these realizations, they are also confronting the guilt of how they treated you. The guilt of allowing jealousy to distort their perception, the guilt of doubting your intentions. The guilt of walking away when your love was pure, and this guilt is heavy, but it is divine. It is the force that brings repentance, correction, and emotional maturity, and without this process, the restoration would not last, but with it, the reunion becomes unbreakable. And while this awakening unfolds within them, I am shaping you at the same time, healing the parts of your heart that felt abandoned, strengthening the parts that felt wounded, rebuilding the confidence that was shaken, and reminding you that your worth was never determined by someone else's confusion. And now you are entering your own awakening, an awakening of strength, of confidence, of spiritual clarity. And as both hearts rise in alignment, the path between you is becoming clearer, brighter, and more divinely protected than ever before. And now I must tell you what is coming next, my beloved child. Your soulmate will soon feel an overwhelming urge to reconnect, an urge so strong it disrupts their routine, keeps them awake at night, interrupts their thoughts during the day, and makes them question why they ever believed the lies that kept you apart. And this urge will grow until it becomes action, because I am placing a divine restlessness inside them, a restlessness that will not quiet until they speak their truth, until they seek reconciliation, until they correct what was broken, until they realign with the destiny that belongs to both of you. And this divine restlessness will show itself in many ways: dreams of you, synchronicities with your name, songs that remind them of you, sudden waves of emotion that push them toward honesty, signs that appear repeatedly until they cannot ignore them anymore. And while this is happening, the jealous woman who once interfered is being moved out of the position she held, her influence dissolving, her intentions exposed, her access revoked. And the cord she tried to tie around your soulmate is now severed permanently, because divine justice does not allow someone to hold on to a heart that was never theirs. And now that I have removed her from the spiritual equation, your soulmate is beginning to feel the purity of your energy again, without distortion, without confusion, without manipulation. And this purity is awakening a longing inside them, a longing not just for your presence but for your forgiveness, your understanding, your touch, your love. And as this longing grows deeper, they will step toward you with a sincerity they did not have before, a vulnerability that was once hidden, and a clarity that only divine awakening can bring. And as I prepare this reunion, I am surrounding your connection with a shield that no jealousy, no lie, no manipulation, no darkness will ever be able to penetrate again, because this connection has been purified through trial, strengthened through separation, and now it will be protected through destiny. And my beloved child, as I close this part of the revelation, hear me once more: no weapon formed against you shall prosper, not now, not ever, because the connection is being restored, the interference is destroyed, the truth is rising, and destiny is calling both of you back into alignment. and the story that was once broken is now becoming the very testimony that will guide your future together, stronger, clearer, and divinely written. God says, my child, listen closely, because what I am revealing now is the moment where heaven itself leans in, the moment where destinies accelerate, the moment where everything hidden begins to surface with such force that the audience listening to this cannot move, cannot blink, cannot scroll, because this is the part where truth pierces through every layer of confusion and wakes the soul with divine urgency. And you must hear this in the deepest part of your spirit: your soulmate is not just awakening, they are being spiritually shaken, emotionally stirred, and internally redirected toward you with a pull that grows stronger by the minute. And while the jealous woman who once interfered watches her illusions collapse, your soulmate is watching truth rise like a sunrise that can no longer be denied, and this rising truth is hitting them with waves of realization they cannot escape, waves of memories they cannot shut out, waves of guilt they cannot numb, waves of longing they cannot silence, because I, the Lord your God, have placed your name back into their heart with divine force, and now every time they breathe, they feel you, every time they close their eyes, they see you, every time they try to focus on something else, their mind drifts back to you, because heaven is restoring the connection they tried to hide from themselves. And listen closely, my beloved child, because this next part is where the audience freezes in place. Your soulmate is being confronted by visions of what life would have looked like if they had chosen trust instead of fear, intuition instead of pressure, love instead of manipulation, and those visions are bringing them to the edge of emotional breaking, not to destroy them but to push them into truth, and that truth is screaming inside them, I should have trusted you, I should have believed you, I shouldn't have listened to her, I never stopped caring, I never wanted to let you go. And these realizations are becoming so loud inside them that they cannot sleep, they cannot pretend, they cannot run, because their soul knows that the connection between you is divine, destined, heaven-written, and now that the interference is gone, their emotions are hitting them raw and unfiltered, and this rawness is pushing them toward action, toward honesty, toward reconciliation, because I am not allowing them to rest until they face the truth of what this connection truly is. And this truth is igniting a fire in their spirit. A fire that burns through every lie they believed, every fear they carried, every doubt they accepted, and now they are seeing the jealous woman clearly, seeing her motives, her jealousy, her insecurities, her desire to keep them close by feeding them fear, and as this clarity grows, the emotional distance between them and her widens, while the emotional pull toward you intensifies with unstoppable force. And audience listening right now, do not move, because heaven is not finished yet. Your soulmate is entering the stage of emotional repentance, where they begin to replay every moment they hurt you, every moment they dismissed you, every moment they doubted you, and as each memory surfaces, their heart tightens with regret because they now see the purity in your efforts, the sincerity in your love, the strength in your silence, the patience in your waiting, and this realization is breaking them open spiritually, preparing them to come toward you with humility, truth, and a vulnerability they once hid. And my beloved child, listen, because the divine timing is accelerating now. Signs around both of you will multiply, dreams will become more vivid, their name will appear before you more frequently, and your presence will haunt them in the holiest way, because your energy is calling them home, and this calling is louder than fear, louder than manipulation, louder than the voice of the woman who tried to separate you, because heaven has removed her from the spiritual path entirely, and as she faces the consequences of her choices, Your soulmate is facing the consequences of rejecting intuition, and these consequences are pushing them closer to you, not out of desperation but out of divine longing, because the love between you is not a coincidence, it is a covenant, and that covenant is being reactivated, restored, reignited, and renewed right now. And audience listening, stay right here because the revelation is rising higher. Your soulmate is becoming emotionally sensitive to everything connected to you, your name, your presence, your silence, even the energy you release when you think of them, and this sensitivity is awakening memories that were buried, feelings that were numbed, hopes that were denied, and as these emotions rise, they will feel an urgency, a divine push, a spiritual pressure that says, you must make this right. And this pressure will guide them to the moment of reconciliation, the moment they speak truth from their soul. The moment they confess what they have been hiding, the moment they finally step into the destiny heaven has been preparing, and while this unfolds, I am strengthening your heart, preparing you to receive what you once prayed for, healing the places where you were wounded, aligning your spirit so you do not shrink when love returns, because this time the reunion is protected, purified, and guarded by angels, and no interference, no jealousy, no manipulation can break what I have restored, and as the final part of this revelation pours out, hear me clearly, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, not the ones formed in fear, not the ones formed in jealousy, not the ones formed in lies, because I have declared this connection restored, I have declared this destiny unlocked, I have declared this union protected, and I am moving both of you toward a chapter where truth replaces confusion, healing replaces heartbreak, clarity replaces doubt, and love, pure, divine, heaven-ordained love, stands unshaken, unstoppable, and forever guarded by my hand. And my child, listen closely one last time. The connection is being restored, destiny is rising, hearts are awakening, and nothing, not a person, not a lie, not a fear, can stop what heaven has already begun. God says, my child, listen closely because this next part is where the spiritual pressure intensifies, where destiny begins to burn through the last fragments of delay, where the truth becomes so loud that neither you nor your soulmate can ignore it any longer, and as heaven moves the pieces of your story into alignment, the emotional awakening unfolding inside your soulmate is becoming unstoppable. And I need you to understand this clearly, the shift that began 3 hours ago has now entered its second phase, a phase where your soulmate is being confronted with every emotion they suppressed, every sign they ignored, every intuition they rejected, every moment they pushed away the love their soul was crying for, and as this confrontation deepens, they are realizing how profoundly you touched them, how deeply your presence changed their inner world, how strongly your love shaped their heart in ways they didn't recognize until now, and the memories they tried to bury are rising from every corner of their being, invading their quiet moments, crashing into their thoughts, flooding their heart with an intensity they never expected, and this rising tide within them is not random, it is heaven's hand pulling them back toward the destiny they turned away from. And my beloved child, listen closely, because the audience hearing this must not blink or scroll right now. Your soulmate is being spiritually confronted with what life feels like without your presence, and this confrontation is awakening a sorrow in them, a longing so deep that it tightens their chest and makes their spirit restless, because now that the jealous woman's influence has collapsed, they can feel the weight of how far they drifted from the truth, and guilt is gripping them, not guilt that destroys but guilt that awakens, guilt that humbles, guilt that turns hearts back toward the path they abandoned, and this guilt is transforming into clarity, clarity into longing, longing into conviction. and conviction into movement, movement toward you, toward reconciliation, toward truth, toward destiny, and even as they resist these emotions out of fear, the pull becomes stronger, the signs become louder, the synchronicities become undeniable, and I am releasing these signs intentionally so that both of you feel the divine alignment taking shape around you. Because the time for confusion is over and the time for awakening has begun, and your soulmate is beginning to realize that the love they felt for you never died, it was only buried under lies, pressure, and manipulation, and now that all interference has been removed, the truth of their heart is rising like fire, burning through every doubt, every fear, every excuse they once used to avoid facing the depth of their feelings, and this fire is igniting a remembrance inside them, a remembrance of the way you looked at them with softness when they were hurting, the way your presence felt like safety in a world full of chaos, the way your silence held understanding, the way your spirit touched theirs in ways they couldn't explain, and now that they are awakening, they are asking themselves, how did I not see this? How did I let them go? Why did I let someone else speak fear into what my soul already recognized as truth? And these questions are becoming so loud inside them that they cannot escape the truth any longer, and this internal storm will soon push them toward action, toward vulnerability, toward confession, because I will not allow them to stay comfortable in denial anymore, and while this awakening consumes them, I am also preparing you, my child, lifting the heaviness you once carried, healing the wounds you hid behind your strength, restoring your peace, and aligning you with the version of yourself who can receive this love without shrinking, without doubting, without fearing the past, because I am giving you spiritual strength and emotional clarity so that when the reunion begins, you walk into it with confidence, not confusion, with self-worth, not insecurity, with discernment, not desperation. And now listen closely because the audience listening must not scroll at this moment. The jealous woman who interfered is now being spiritually moved out of the equation entirely. Her attempts to regain influence are failing, her words are losing power, her intentions are being revealed, and the spiritual ties she tried to create around your soulmate are dissolving completely, leaving her without the control she once wielded, and as she loses access, your soulmate is regaining freedom, the freedom to feel their own emotions, to hear their own intuition, to recognize your worth without someone else's voice in their ear, and this freedom is awakening a spiritual hunger inside them, a hunger for truth, for peace, for closure, for love, and this hunger will lead them back to you, not because they are weak, but because they are finally aligned with what heaven wrote for them from the beginning, and soon they will begin to experience signs that guide them toward you, your name appearing unexpectedly, dreams where you speak to them, moments of intuition that say, reach out, songs that feel like messages, emotions that hit them like lightning, and each sign will push them closer and closer until they cannot hold the truth inside anymore, and when that moment comes, they will reach out with vulnerability, not pride, with sincerity, not fear, with confession, not confusion, because I am preparing their heart to open fully, to speak fully, to love fully, and my child, you must be ready for this moment. Because the connection being restored is not a repeat of the past, it is a purified version, a healed version, a divinely aligned version where both of you will finally see each other as heaven sees you, without interference, without illusion, without fear, and as this divine restoration takes shape, know this truth: no weapon formed against you shall prosper, not the jealousy that once tried to tear you apart, not the lies that clouded your soulmate's vision, not the fear that kept them silent, not the confusion that kept you waiting, because heaven has taken over. This story, and what is aligned now cannot be undone, and as I bring both hearts closer, you will feel the shift in the air, the softening inside your spirit, the warmth around your heart, the intuitive certainty that destiny is moving again, because I am holding this connection in my hands now, guarding it, protecting it, guiding it, and leading it toward the moment where truth is spoken, wounds are healed, hearts are reunited, and the love that was nearly stolen rises again, stronger, clearer, and divinely unshakable. And my beloved child, hear me once more, the awakening is happening, the restoration is unfolding, the reunion is approaching, and nothing, not fear, not jealousy, not distance, can stop what heaven has already set in motion. God says, my child, listen closely, because as this revelation deepens, heaven is releasing a wave of truth so powerful that the atmosphere around your destiny is shifting even as you hear these words, and this shift is causing your soulmate to undergo an emotional transformation they cannot control, cannot ignore, and cannot escape, for the awakening inside them is no longer subtle. It is roaring through their spirit like a divine storm, tearing down every illusion they accepted, every lie they believed, every doubt they carried, and every fear they hid behind, and now I am pulling the truth to the surface with such intensity that they are being confronted by memories of you in every corner of their mind, memories that land not as thoughts but as emotional shockwaves, your smile hitting them like light breaking through darkness, your voice echoing in their heart with a gentleness that exposes the coldness surrounding them. Your kindness replaying in their spirit as a reminder of the love they once pushed away, and this sudden emotional remembrance is making them question everything, because for the first time they are realizing how deeply your presence shaped their life, and how painfully empty things feel without you in it. And listen closely, my beloved child, because their heart is now responding in ways they never allowed before, craving the softness you held, the way you understood them without explanation, the way you carried their emotions without demanding their strength, the way you loved without using fear or manipulation, and this realization is breaking them open from the inside, and as this breaking continues, the jealous woman's mask is falling off completely in their eyes. They are seeing her reactions, remembering her tone, tracing her patterns, recognizing how she used their vulnerability to tighten her grip, noticing how she spoke your name with bitterness, how she twisted situations to benefit herself, and now they are realizing what heaven tried to show them long ago. She never cared for their soul, she only cared for the power she gained by keeping them emotionally dependent, and now that her influence has been cut off, they are standing face to face with the truth of who she was and the truth of who you were, and this contrast is shaking them, because the love you offered was pure, while the attention she offered was contaminated with jealousy. And this clarity is creating a deep ache of regret inside them, a regret that whispers, "Why didn't I see this earlier? How could I doubt someone who showed me more love than anyone else? How could I trust someone who only cared about controlling me?" And these questions are stirring their spirit in ways they cannot ignore, and this stirring is turning into longing, and longing is turning into urgency, and urgency is turning into movement, because I am pushing them into alignment with what I ordained. And my child, listen closely, because the audience listening to this must not even blink at this part. Your soulmate is being spiritually reminded of every moment where they felt peace with you, every moment where they felt safe, every moment where they felt understood, every moment where your presence felt like home even when they didn't know why, and these reminders are activating emotions they suppressed for far too long, emotions that were buried under manipulation, buried under fear, buried under confusion. But now those emotions are rising like flames inside their heart. And those flames are melting the emotional numbness they once used to avoid facing their truth. And as this happens, your soulmate is being drawn toward you with a divine pull so strong that they can feel it in their chest, in their breathing, in their dreams, in their silence, and this pull is only intensifying as heaven continues to restore what was broken, and now that the interference is gone, your soulmate is beginning to notice signs that point toward you, your initials appearing unexpectedly, songs that carry your energy, places that remind them of moments you shared, dreams where you appear not as a memory but as a message, and these signs are not coincidences, they are spiritual signals guiding them back to their destiny, and my beloved child, as these signs intensify, their resistance weakens, their pride softens, their walls crumble, because I am preparing their heart to step toward you in truth, and not only truth but vulnerability, confession, and responsibility. For the reunion that is coming cannot be built on illusion, it must be built on awakened love, and so I am guiding them into emotional discomfort to force them into emotional honesty, and that honesty will soon become the very key that unlocks your reconciliation, and while this awakening unfolds inside them, I am also awakening you, reminding you of your worth, reminding you of your strength, reminding you of the love you carry that cannot be imitated or replaced, reminding you that you were never the one lacking. You were the one chosen, and now that heaven is restoring what was stolen, I am giving you spiritual discernment so you can feel their energy when it shifts, sense their longing when it rises, and recognize their sincerity when they finally reach out. And child, listen closely because this part carries divine weight. The jealous woman is now experiencing the consequences of her interference, her connections weakening, her influence dissolving, her emotional hold breaking. Because heaven will never allow someone to hold on to a heart that was destined for another, and now that her grip is gone, your soulmate is finally tasting emotional clarity for the first time in a long time, and that clarity is making them realize that the emptiness they feel is not loneliness, it is the absence of you, and that absence is suffocating them, pushing them toward reconciliation with an intensity that grows by the day, and soon they will reach a breaking point where they cannot hold these emotions inside anymore, where they cannot pretend they are fine, where they cannot deny the truth of what their heart has been screaming since the first moment they met you, and when that breaking point comes, they will reach out with words that carry the weight of everything they wanted to say but didn't know how, and that moment will be guided by heaven, protected by angels, and aligned with divine timing, because nothing, not fear, not pride, not interference, can stop what I have written for both of you, and hear me clearly. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, not in the past, not now, not ever, because I am restoring everything that was broken, rebuilding everything that was damaged, awakening everything that was asleep, and protecting everything that is meant for you, and as this restoration continues, you will feel a peace that replaces confusion, a certainty that replaces doubt, a strength that replaces fear, and your heart will know that destiny has reopened, that love is returning, that alignment has begun, because what is written in heaven can never be erased on earth, and the connection between you and your soulmate is stepping into its divine season, unstoppable, undeniable, awakened, restored, and forever protected by my hand. God says, my child, listen closely because this final part must enter your heart with the same fire heaven is releasing right now, for everything that has unfolded, every shift, every awakening, every moment of truth, has been leading to this exact point, and you must not miss what I am about to say. Your soulmate is no longer confused, no longer influenced, no longer blind to the truth of what you are to them. Because the fog that once clouded their spirit has fully lifted, and now all they feel is the raw pull of destiny drawing them back toward you, and this pull is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, stronger than the opinions of others, stronger even than the pain of the past, because what I wrote between you was never meant to fade, and now that the jealous woman's grip is completely broken, your soulmate is finally seeing you with heaven's clarity, realizing you were the blessing they pushed away, the peace they ignored, the love they didn't know how to receive, and as this realization floods their heart, their spirit is whispering, go back, make this right, don't lose them again, and this whisper is about to turn into action, into movement, into a divine step toward reconciliation that nothing can stop, because I am clearing the path before you, removing the last obstacles, aligning the timing, softening the emotions, and preparing the moment where truth meets truth and both hearts recognize each other again without interference, without fear, without confusion. And hear me clearly, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, because the connection is restored, the awakening is complete, the destiny is active, and what is coming next is not heartbreak but divine alignment, divine union, and a new beginning blessed by heaven itself.